And I've got Spot Farm, Hancock's down there. They get irritated because the cattle end up on the field. Okay, and they keep saying, well, we have to do something about the fence. Really, what they want me to do is take the cattle off the ranch, and, I can get down there and get the cattle gathered within 24 hours of being noticed. And it's, I've got a good face-to-face relationship to him, but he talks to other people he doesn't realize are friends of mine.
Yeah.
And we've had a discussion about, you don't need to talk to other people about what's going on down here. And there for the longest time, before 2019, before COVID, they had a new academy class come out of the Border Patrol, and I can always tell you those wet behind the ear kids.
You can point out the new guys.
And so I haven't been wet behind the ears since 1974. So, they caught one group coming across south of Stamp Well, which is a location. It's in line with my pipeline, but it's not on the pipeline, and it's got a well there, and et cetera, et cetera. And so they know where the gate's at. I've given them the GPS marks for all the gates along the whole south end. All two of them. Well, actually three if you count gate 20. They invariably cut the fence at the post or just flat run over it. And
So
that
he's being double damaged.
Yeah. And okay, they get lost up here on the north end, right south of the railroad track. So what do? They drive towards the railroad because they can see the engine or they can see the signal lights.
Yeah.
They drive towards the railroad. Yeah. Oh, we can see the railroad right there. Right across. And the last time, which was before Halloween, they took out about 150 feet of fence because it hung up on the vehicle that came through the fence. And they called me and they said, you've got some east-west fence down in the vicinity of the old turnaround. And I know exactly where that is.
Sure.
And I said, they know where they were when they took the fence down. How long ago did it go down? Oh, a week to 10 days. And I said, good, I don't have cattle out there. I got horses out. But my horses like pampering, and so that are out there, and so they stay at the one well because they know if they stay there long enough, I'm going to show up with a bale of food. But I have confronted the, and I won't say it was a aggressive confrontation, but
with the illegals or the Border Patrol?
No, with both actually, but
okay.
With the group that the old group that used to run the coyotes that came up through it. The new group is extremely violent, and I've stayed away from them. That's running the illegals and the drugs.
Yeah.
And I've stayed away from them, being as I'm as close to 70 as you can get. And
welcome to my world.
And so, with age comes wisdom, and
sometimes.
Sometimes. Do I go down there armed? Yes. I don't go down there sporting weapons.
No.
Everybody says, well, you need to get your hunting license. So I said, they're not going to bother me. I'm protecting my own property. But this new group has been in place now since May of 2020. And there's been some cuttings and people put in the hospital as the organizer or Uber drivers, supervisors, I should say, changed. And so I have stayed on the peripheral, but I have asked them, and I still ask them, if you guys are going to continue coming through the same place, quit cutting my fence. And the fence is not in the best of shape along this bombing range on the south end.
Yeah.
And that was where I was having the most problem up until about 4 years ago. And then it's just located in the vicinity south of Stamp's Well. So that's where they're coming through, and there's a gate there. They can open the gate, put the gate back up. But I think I'm going to end up putting a walk-through.
Sure.
But more along the lines, there's a lot of wildlife down there. We have been fortunate when we've been out there, especially my grandson who's now in the Army. He and I were fortunate enough last year about this time, riding down there trying to find the last of our cattle that were still out. We found the cattle on the ranch actually, but then we found a group of horses and a group of deer, and the deer realized that the harvest machine was stalking them, and the horses had no idea that there was a harvest machine stalking them.
Nice.
I pay attention to my country, wherever I'm at, and neighborhoods or whatever I'm in, and I can tell you within hours if there's illegals going to be coming through.
Sure.
It's easy to tell when they have been through, and they're traveling mainly. If they come on me, they're coming up in two spots. The big one is Stamp's Wells, and they go all the way up and then cut over to Spot Farm. The ones that have been traveling longer, coming up, drop this way, come up into what I call State Camp. That's in my southeast corner.
Okay, so that's still we're still south of I-8.
Yes,
border.
we're out. It's 6 miles south of I-8.
Okay.
As a crow flies, and the trail that they use is about maybe a half mile west of that water, but somebody will drop into there.
Okay, what kind of water? Is that well water or is
Well,
that?
it's well water. All I've got out there right now is well water. The 24 springs have dried up.
We've had tremendous problems with them in southern Arizona, central, around Naco and Sierra Vista, on and on, because they're coming in and they don't have water. They're drinking the wildlife water, and that's a bad thing. Then they get sick, and then they hit the blue phone, and Border Patrol scoops them up.
And it's funny you mentioned that, because last night we were gathering cattle off of one of the pastures, and we were fighting dark. We weren't even fighting sundown. We were fighting dark, right? And I was sitting there. We were waiting for the calves to decide to go in the corral, and I turned to my foster son and I said, I just thought of something. He said, "What's that?" How come they always tell everybody don't drink the water, but not one of them says don't brush your teeth and don't take a shower?
Really?
He said, "What brought that up?" I said, "Well, that trough." I said, "It's good well water, but really nobody should be jumping in that trough because the javelina and the deer mess around in it."
Yep.
And I'm not so much worried about the deer, but I mean the javelina, you got a scratch. You don't even have to have a scratch.
They're just a pack of bacteria.
Yeah.
Well, getting back to the point on your point, the illegals come across and they get on a deer trail, a game trail.
Yeah.
The next thing you know, and God bless them, I support them 100%, but BP gets on there, and then it becomes a two-track because they're chasing them with quads. The next thing you know, here they come with, a Tahoe, and now it's a two-lane road, and we've got all this stuff. Ocotillo National Monument was shut down for 5 years. They just trashed it, but now they have designated roads for the BP to run on. They've cleaned up the mess. It was open, and it's getting right back to the way it was.
Well, and the thing is that you mentioned is the roads. I'm more than happy to open up the south fences, open up the gates. I mean,
to the illegals?
To anybody,
okay.
Rather than have them
cut the fence,
cut the fence and tromp the country. You go out there right now, and there's I don't know who that was. You go out there right now, and it just like fingernails on a blackboard.
Oh, yeah.
The 4x4 and side by side tracks that are out there from, and the majority of them aren't from rifle season. They're from the last 2-3 weeks.
We're inundated statewide with those things.
And-
It's a huge issue.
And I'm not sure I know that some of the vehicles out there during deer season this year were not game and fish, were not border patrol, and I have an issue this time of the year into April with nuisance damage.
Yeah.
Okay, just enough to take 4 or 5 hours out of my riding time, because it's something that affects the water system, and what do I do about it? I just keep going out there every day.
Let me give you my assurance. We're working with the game department. It's working with the state land department and the ranchers for access. I understand your problem, and it's a big deal for ranchers shutting off roads. For the same thing. Most of the ATV and UTV guys are pretty decent, but it's like everything else. You got 10% are out there being buttheads. They're doing damage to yours, they're cutting fence, they're doing this, they're doing that, and as a rancher, you're going, okay, I'm done. Lock the gate. Then we got another issue. So we've parlayed with the state land department and the ranching community, especially with Commissioner Bill Brake, Bill.
Yeah.
And trying to keep the ranch's access open, but at the same time, the Arizona Deer Association and MDF and AES and all that, we're working with, Tyson's a primary example. We want to use our funds and HPC funds to do something for him so he can do something for wildlife. I mean, this is a symbiotic relationship. We've got to have it, and you've got to have support so that these guys understand you just don't go out there and do whatever the hell you want to.
Right.
Let me ask you this. Weekly or monthly, however you can phrase it, how many UDAs or illegals do you think you've got coming across your expanse?
I think it averages about 5 a day.
5 a day. Okay.
Okay. Some days. I haven't been down there as much in the last 6 months as I have been in the last 3 weeks, and I noticed a set pattern, but I don't think the ones coming across me are travelers. I think they're
Traffic
mules carrying stuff.
Yeah.
And I definitely won't mess with them. There's other options. But going back to the other situation is, I think as far as the wildlife disturbance goes, which comes around to disturbing livestock, is non-hunters.
Yeah.
And I can't get.
It is.
I can't get. I can't get the support or the monitoring that I need, and they keep telling me to put up my own cameras. And I said, "Well, what am I going to do?" I said, I was in the business for too many years. I know that even in uniform, there's something the uniform guys can do, let alone.
Yeah.
And I think it's a change in attitude, and my attitude's never changed in the last 35 years. But I really think that there's an organized disturbance with wildlife waters, aka livestock waters.
Sure.
Three of my major waters are on a pipeline that run diagonally from about 1.5 miles southwest of this corner all the way down to within 1 mile of the Stamps Well gate at the south end.
How far south of I-8 does your property go?
It starts at the south of the railroad track. At this, when you cross the railroad track,
Right,
there's
yeah,
a
yeah.
little piece of my little piece. There's 40 acres in there, private, that's owned by the old town site of Sentinel. But then everything that's along that fence all the way down to the first gate, which is about 2.5 miles, everything west of the road is me. Then you go through the gate, and then you're on the east and west side all the way down to gate 20, which is the bombing range, and then we go 6 miles across at the bottom, and it's about 6.5 at the freeway because it's on an angle towards Spot.
Okay, so the feds want you to monitor your own property.
Yeah, they want me to monitor their lease and let them know when I get a license plate. And I'm horseback.
Giddy up.
No, well, I told them. I said I got a 22-250.
Yeah.
I can leave them in place.
We call that playing cowboys and cartels. Yeah, I get it. Yeah.
I mean, I don't want to. I never had what I call a rough reputation. I always tried to work within the area.
You gotta stay between the lines.
I won't say that much, but what I do is I try to make the other person think that they got me doing what they want. And so, but anyway, it's not. I have a problem down there, yes. I have lots of problems down there, yes. The wildlife has a big problem down there, yes. The big problem is not just Border Patrol, not just the UAs, it's also the social political atmosphere that's going on.
Oh my gosh.
I don't know if you remember during Obama, and he came out and said all state land was federal land.
Yeah.
Okay, and we had the Joe City Ranch, and I was having trespassers on my state land, and fortunately up there I had over 1,000 acres of deeded, and most of that was along the roads, and so I would just shut the roads off, and the hunters could come in from the east side, but the non-conservatives would not drive their vehicles across the east side because the road's just all sand dunes and old Indian roads.
Yeah.
And so they wouldn't drive.
Subarus and Priuses don't like that.
Right, exactly. And they,
Gotcha, JK.
they die. The Prius goes out there. Could you pull me to town? Why?
Yeah, right.
I said, yeah, no, you. Mercedes-Benz out there in the middle of wash, nose down into the water. Can you pull me out? I said, I'll axle out, but that's about it.
Yeah.
But anyway, back to the other. You've got a big job ahead of you. I cooperate with everybody until it interferes with my cattle, my family, or me, my horses, or my dog. But I would really like to see them sort of structure their Border Patrol enforcement and make, like I said before, make people think they're going where they want to.
Yeah.
They're
smart enough to do that. I think their rules of engagement have been modified to the point that, they're trying to do their job with zip ties. That said, we've got a new generation of folks versus the old school. We've got old school right here, and we're used to doing things a little bit different. These guys, the new ones that are coming out.
But we were new school. I cared about my communities, no matter where I was. No matter if I was 35 people or 3,500 people or 35,000 people in the area. I cared about my communities, and that's one of the big things that's missing all the way around when we do these projects.
Yeah,
we're not bringing the community into the projects. I mean, like the school here, they operate the school as somebody in there is saying, "Oh, I hope we make it through today without anything happening, whether it be major, minor, or not." But let's just hope that things go to the east or things go to the west. And up until the last, and I'm sorry, but up until the last year, because I can't say for sure on this last year, the main trail was coming up coming up my pipeline, because this water up here is about 1.5 miles off of a direct route to the rest area.
Okay.
And they've got, those drop your...
I-8 corridor, I mean, once they hit here, they're gone. Yeah. They're gone to the rest of the lower 48s.
But I have addressed some of these guides and asked them nicely just to go around, so that I'm not, because I tell them, if I get a cut fence, I'm calling Border Patrol.
Yeah.
And so, but I mean, that's all I can do. Wildlife, again, we go back, now we've got not just the Air Force, but we've got Yuma Proving Ground.
Yeah. My resources in doing what I do, what can we do to help you on your expanse? Now, I can't do anything about the Biden administration except beat on them. We support the Border Patrol. We've got a working relationship and partnership with Game and Fish.
Too.
And we've got, I've got a Habitat Projects guy that, we're all over the state doing projects.
I think U.S. Wildlife needs to work more hand in hand with Arizona Game and Fish.
I don't see that happening.
You asked me.
Well, let me tell you why. Manning, the new director of BLM, and all the people that have come aboard during the Biden administration, they're left wing, and they don't give a damn about what's happening. They want to shut off access. I mean, we're already seeing a whole movement to remonumentize a lot of the stuff that Doug's got it up there, Bears Ear.
Yeah.
You're going to shut that down. They want to monumentize the rest of northern Arizona. In game and the Fish and Wildlife Service, God love them. We're right back to Obama years. So we've got our battle. We've got lobbyists going to D.C. Fighting BLM. Tracy Stone Manning was the Guardians of the Earth terrorist that got arrested for spiking pine trees in 1989, and now she's running one of the largest government agencies that we've got. How in the hell does this happen? I don't know. It's just crazy. So you and I, in our NGOs, we're left to our own devices, and we're there trying to prod Game and Fish to do the right thing, and we've got commissioners, we've got wildlife managers, we've got supervisors, and I got a problem down here with those guys.
Don't you really need to get Ducey off of his butt?
That's not going to happen. He's termed out. He didn't give a damn.
I mean, look what's going on in Texas with Abbott. I mean, he's doing a better job than the government's doing right now.
Well, absolutely. Ducey missed his window. He could have done that.
Yes.
He could have had a legacy.
Yeah.
You know, it's like Biden. Biden wants a legacy. Build it back better? No. Leave it like you found it. You'll have a legacy.
Yeah.
As far as the wildlife goes, I think 3 lions in the amount of country that they're running in, which is probably about 300,000 acres,
Yeah.
is too many.
Yeah. Are they pestering your wildlife? I mean, your livestock?
In 3 years, I've only lost 3 cows, and 2 of them were calving at the time they were killed.
Yeah.
Okay, and mentality-wise, they're not going to bother the cows because a scratch is a fatal demise. It's even like the wild horses and everything. They're not going after the wild horses. No. This old lion out here, the only thing I have found that I can nail him probably with was a partially buried fawn. And that was an afternoon.
Hey, that's
munch,
how they make their living.
But the thing is I've noticed, I watched the deer herd drop down when all 3 of them are in the area.
Oh yeah.
It drops out. And I really enjoy the decrease in the number of javelina that aren't coming into the water. And my problem with the javelina is basically parasites.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And so I pour Clorox in my waters every night, and because it'll be gone by midday, but at night it kills what's there, and hopefully there's enough left in the morning when they jump in. But as far as the solution for wildlife, I think I'm okay.
Okay.
That's as the UAs. I don't have a solution, but I would
like to tell you we could bring a band of gentlemen down here and catch them and take them to Joe Biden.
Yeah, load up the bus and take them to Washington D.C.
Absolutely.
But that's a political attitude.
How about
with
the amount of fences that you're getting cut, would it be advantage to be able to make a phone call and get a crew down here to help you fix fences?
No, because then I lose more time by having people that aren't familiar coming into an area to fix fence. Because even the guy that I have work with me, okay, I'll tell him, my statement is, get it done. Get the fence up. Yeah. I don't care what it looks like. Get it up. Then we'll come back. And I said, yeah, I've probably got fence that's been temporary since January of 16. That's the type of business it is.
Once farming.
I know, he knows his grasses and his plants. I know my cattle. I know if I got 3 strands up at certain times of the year, I don't have to worry about the cattle getting out. The calves, they slide out and everybody gets all excited. Leave them alone. And that's the other thing, is watching these people stop on the side of the road and like, oh, that fawn's separated from its mama. Leave it alone. It'll get back through it.
Yeah, absolutely.
And up in the White Mountains, that was one of my patrol sectors. We pulled up on somebody messing with a fawn, and we had to snag that fawn, and it's hard, and call Game and Fish to come get it because the mom would never take it back.
Yeah.
She'd already been panicked by them getting out, and I think the fawn died of a heart attack, but after they relocated it. But education is the only thing I think, and any education we do right now is going to be politically influenced negative.
Yes, absolutely.